Hey, today I want to talk to the woman who is wondering if maybe she missed her moment. Maybe you look at where you are in life and you think, I should have figured this out by now. Maybe there was something you dreamed about years ago, but life happened. You raised kids, you built a career, you took care of people, you walked through some really hard things. And maybe you made some mistakes along the way. Maybe you spent years doing something that was good, but now you sense God stirring something different in you. And somewhere in the back of your mind, the question is, am I too late? I have something to say to you. I'm so glad you're here. Hi friend, do you feel called to more but struggle to know what that really means? I'm Pam Pegram, leadership and personal growth coach, and this is the Confident Christian Influence podcast. Here you'll find tools to gain clarity, grow confidence, and step boldly into God's plan. We are even going to talk about managing your time because, girl, that overwhelm is not meant for you. Grab your coffee and your notebook, or you might want to open your notes app. It's time to live with intention, lead with influence, and make a lasting impact. Are you ready? Let's go. Welcome to episode 249 of the Confident Christian Influence podcast. I'm super excited you're here. If it's your first time, will you click that follow button so that you never miss an episode? I surely want to come alongside you and encourage you to walk in obedience, to walk in confident Christian influence, and to become who God's calling you to be. We are going to talk about the fact that you're not too late. God wants to use this season of your life. Are you ready for it? Are you ready? Listen, I don't say that because it sounds encouraging. I'm saying that to you because I'm living it right now. See, sometimes God calls you to something that you never saw coming. This week, I actually had that happen in my life, and it feels like a really big deal. I mean, God's really done some amazing things. As a matter of fact, out of a lot of pain, He has birthed the Courage to Rise Project, which is a new nonprofit. Listen, I didn't do this by myself. I have an incredible board of directors. I also have an incredible advisory board, and you can go check out and learn everything about it at couragetoriseproject.org, and I hope that you will. But the reason I'm sharing this is I want you to know this was not on my 5-year plan. I didn't sit down a few years ago and go, you know what I think I'll do next? I think I'll launch a nonprofit to help survivors of child sexual abuse. Nope, I didn't say that. I wasn't thinking that. And I never thought that my family would experience that. But we did. And it has been a really painful season for us, but I knew I could never go back and be the person I was before I knew what I now know. As I began hearing more and more stories from people who were also victimized, I began seeing a need, and God was revealing it to me, and I had a burden that was really, really big. What was I going to do? Was I simply going to care about it, or was I willing to let God use me to do something about it? You know, I wonder right now if God keeps putting this in front of you. Maybe He's putting a person or a problem, an idea, a need, a conversation you can't get out of your mind, something that keeps tugging at your heart. You know, we sometimes expect our calling to arrive in this big, crystal clear announcement from God. Like maybe He just dropped a note down from heaven, right? Here is exactly what I want you to do, Pam. And here are the next 47 steps, right? That's what we want. We want to hear that. We want to receive that. But that's not been my experience for sure. And so often God just simply shows us the next thing. The next thing. And that's what happened for me as I look back over the last, 30 years of my life. He has had me on a trajectory that led here. Some really hard seasons, some really difficult times, some really mountain experiences. Like He's had me go through a lot. And now I realize all of it was leading me here to where I am today. Being a leadership coach, coming alongside women to help them grow into the leader that God created them to be so they can impact and influence the lives of the people around them. And also to lead this incredible team in this nonprofit to help a lot of people, to strengthen communities, and to become really strong advocates that is so desperately needed in the world today. There are some things you need to know before you take your next step. And so I'm ready to share them with you. I hope you're ready to dive in and hear them. Number one, you got to stop disqualifying yourself because of your season. Stop it. You have not been disqualified. You are not down and out for the count. Stop believing that. That is a lie straight from the enemy. You have not been disqualified. Okay, believe it and receive it. You cannot say, I'm too old, I'm too young, I don't have enough experience, I don't have the right education, I've made too many mistakes, I've already spent too many years doing something else. Or let me flip that question around. Who are you to decide that God can't use you? If He's calling you, your job isn't to convince Him He picked the wrong person. Nope, your job is to say yes. All of those things I said before, I've tried to use all of those excuses and they don't work. God keeps calling. I'm 62 years old and I'm starting something completely new. You know what? God gave me mentors in Premier Designs Jewelry that they started that business when they were 60 years old. And they built a business that impacted so many lives. Every jeweler that ever joined up in that company would probably tell you about Andy and Joan Horner and the difference they made in their life. But they didn't just impact jewelers, and there were lots and lots and lots of them, many thousands, tens of thousands of them, okay, over the years. And they also, are you ready for this? They gave $25 million to missions. They supported missionaries all around the world. They built hospitals and schools and dorms and put in wells and bought vans and did all kind of things, had jail ministries and just built chapels. You name it, and they were able to do it. It was really amazing. Man, how encouraging that is. So if you're sitting there listening to this right now and you're in your 50s, maybe you're like me and you're in your 60s, it is not too late. It is not too late. Everything that God has been teaching you over the last 10, 20, 30 years is for such a time as this. If you sense that God is calling you to more, today's the day to simply say yes. Today's the day to do it. And so I hope that I can inspire you to just say yes. That's the first step. Say yes. Whatever it is, Lord, that you're asking me to do, I say yes to you. Okay, so number one, you're not disqualified. Number two, nothing you've walked through has been wasted. Nothing. Many years ago, I went through my second divorce. Most people would think that disqualified you from God being able to use you, but it didn't. Matter of fact, He uses that very sentence to allow people to let me speak into their life all the time. When I speak at women's events, I tell them that. And people will come up to me afterwards and let me know that if God can use me, God can use them. And they're so encouraged that maybe they haven't blown it if God is still using me. And so that's a lie that the enemy wants you to believe. But when I went through my second divorce, when I was laying in the floor and thought, it's over. I can't even imagine life beyond this. How could life ever be good again? God began to show me that He was everything I needed. So if I had not been through that devastating time, I wouldn't know Jesus the way that I do now. I probably would have never said yes to any of His callings if I had not been through that really hard season. He didn't waste that. He didn't waste any of my hard days. He didn't waste any of my long nights, and He's not wasting yours either. He has been using those to grow you, to change you, and to lead you to become who it is that He's calling you to be. Man, isn't that beautiful? I mean, one of the beautiful things about getting older, and yes, there are beautiful things about getting older, is that you have history with God. You're becoming more faithful. You're building your faith muscle. You're getting to see that He shows up every time. He is good. He is faithful. He is trustworthy. You know, because you've lived some life and learned some things, because you've made mistakes and survived things you weren't sure that you would survive, you've had prayers answered, and you've had prayers answered differently than you had hoped. You've got some experience with God. And so hopefully you've learned a lot about His faithfulness. Don't discount all of that. Romans 8:28 reminds us that God causes everything to work together for good of those who love Him and are called according to His purpose. It means that God is capable of taking all of it, every single bit of it, and using it for good in our life to grow us and strengthen us and change us and transform us. The wins, the losses, the disappointments, the experiences, the heartbreak, the things you wish had gone differently, God doesn't waste surrendered pieces of our life. You may be looking at your past as evidence that you're behind, but God may be looking at those same years as preparation for what He has next for you. All right, number 3, you ready? Your calling doesn't have to look impressive to matter. I want to be really careful here, because when we talk about calling, we can make it sound like everybody needs to start a nonprofit. I don't think that at all. Everybody needs to write a book. Everybody needs to build a business. Everybody needs to launch a ministry or stand on a stage. No, 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 no. On a regular basis, I get to watch my daughter in her calling as she homeschools her 4 children. I get to watch my other daughter in her salon as she is doing hair pour into the lives of the people who sit in her chair. I watch my son fulfill his calling of being an executive in a corporation and doing amazing things. Like, they have callings as well, and they don't look anything like my calling. You just have to know that it may be to serve faithfully in your church. It may be to become a safe home where teenagers hang out. It might be to lead differently in the company where you already work. Your calling might be in the promotion that you're about to be offered. It may be to encourage the woman that God keeps putting on your heart. Maybe He's asking you to lead Bible study instead of just attending. I don't know what your calling is, but if you will open up your heart and your hands to listen and receive, God will reveal it to you. And then your job is to simply take the next step. See, we tend to measure influence by how many people see us, but God measures faithfulness very differently. Don't miss something significant because it looks small. Goodness gracious, if one life is changed, that is a really big deal. If the only life that is changed is yours, that is a huge, huge deal. But also, don't be fooled. There are a lot more people watching you than you know, like your children, like your grandchildren, like your spouse, like your friends, like the people you interact with all the time. Even people on social media are watching you. So don't be fooled. Don't be fooled. God has a plan for you, and it is good. Number 4, you don't need the whole plan. You just need the next step. See, if God had shown me every single thing involved in starting this nonprofit or even in leadership coaching at the beginning, I would have said, no way, no how. I cannot do that. I would have never taken the first step. But He's been leading me forward for 30 years in this direction. Because here's the thing. He knows what is required, and in the right time, He will bring the resources, He will bring the people, He will bring everything that you need to take your next step. So I think sometimes we say we're waiting on God, but in reality, God has already shown us something to do, and He's waiting on us. We're waiting for step 10, but He's saying, hey, we got to take step 1 first. So here's the first thing I'm asking you to do. And so we need to just really listen and allow Him to lead us to the next step. You just take the next faithful step. For instance, when He called me to write a book, I think about 15 years ago, the first thing I had to do was to open up my laptop and start writing. That was the first step. I couldn't publish it until I wrote it. I couldn't worry about who was going to buy it until I wrote it. And so you've got to start with step 1. Now, before I took step 1, you know what I did? I started second guessing it and thinking, maybe I need to go take creative writing. Maybe I need to take some college courses. I was procrastinating, pushing it down the road, thinking I had to prepare myself. God didn't tell me to go back to school. God said, Pam, write this book. He didn't say it like that, but it dropped in my spirit. I knew that I was supposed to do it. I had to just say yes and take one step at a time, one terrifying step at a time. Okay, number 5, don't wait until fear goes away. This connects so much with what we've been talking about over the last few weeks. If you're waiting to feel completely confident before you take your next step, you may be waiting a very, very, very long time. Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is taking the step even though you are afraid, even though you feel fear. Okay, Joshua 1:9. I love this verse. I love it. It says, be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid or discouraged, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. See, notice that God didn't tell Joshua, don't worry, nothing scary is going to happen. He reminded Joshua that He would be with him. That's where our confidence comes from, right? Because it's never us alone. We're never on our own. It is us and God together. And no matter what, He has us. No matter what, He is faithful. He is our provider. We need His presence. He is everything we've ever wanted and everything that we will ever need. We do not have to be afraid. Okay? And it's not because we know exactly where we're going, because we may not. It's not because we know how it's going to turn out, because we don't, right? And it's not because that we are the most qualified person. Probably not. We probably know somebody that we think could do it better, yet God is inviting us into it. And He's with us. Your confidence was never supposed to come from your ability to control the outcome. It comes from knowing the one who is calling you. He's calling you by name and inviting you in to more with Him. Number 6, the last thing I want you to know is somebody's waiting on the other side of your obedience. There is somebody that God wants to use you to impact their life, and they're just over there waiting for you to be obedient. Yeah, think about that. Might be a lot of somebodies. Might be several. Might be dozens, might be hundreds, might be thousands. I don't know. You know, there are people that Courage to Rise Project will serve who I haven't even met yet. I haven't heard their stories yet. There are women who will walk into a support group one day whose names I don't know today. I don't know who all those people are. I have no idea. I don't need to know. I just need to be faithful with God, what God has put in front of me, and so do you. Your yes may affect someone you haven't met yet. That's why this isn't about you. When we make our calling entirely about ourselves, fear gets really loud. Matter of fact, God can't use it when we make it all about us. What will people think? What if I'm not good enough? It's not about us. It's about Him. It's about saying yes and allowing God to work in us and then work through us to impact the lives of the people around us. So the question is, God, how do you want to use me? Listen, friend, you are not too late. You are right on time. And I want to leave you with this today. Maybe you've been looking backward instead and thinking about all the years you wish you'd done something differently. Maybe you've been comparing your timeline to somebody else's. Maybe you've convinced yourself that your biggest opportunity to make a difference has already passed you by. But what if it hasn't? What if everything God has taught you up until this point has prepared you for something He wants you to do now? Moses was 80 when God called him to lead the Israelites out of Egypt. Abraham and Sarah certainly weren't operating on a timeline that they would have chosen. Scripture's filled with people whose timing didn't make sense from a human perspective. God's not limited by your age. He's not limited by your resume. He's not limited by what you didn't do 10 years ago. And He's certainly not sitting in heaven saying, well, I had something for her, but she missed the deadline. If you're still here, listen, God can still use you. So instead of asking, is it too late? Ask, God, what would you have me do with the season I'm in right now? And then listen. Pay attention to what He keeps putting in front of you. Pay attention to the burden that you cannot shake. Pay attention to the people He's bringing across your path. And when He shows you the next step, girl, you got to take it. Take that step. You don't have to have the entire plan. You don't have to feel completely ready. You don't have to know how it's all going to turn out. You just need to be willing to say, here I am, Lord. Use me. Because, friend, you're not too late. There is still purpose in your life. There are people you can influence. There is still good work for you to do. And there is still time to say yes. And then get ready to take the next step. It's one at a time, step after step after step. It's not leap after leap. It's not jumps and by leaps and bounds. No, it's a step, one at a time. And He's with you. He'll be faithful to carry you forward. I'm excited to hear about the steps that you're taking. Please reach out and let me know all about it. Oh, friend, thank you so much for listening to today's episode. I hope you were intentional and took just a second to jot down what you know was meant specifically for you today. Also, will you do me a favor and hop over to Apple Podcast and leave a written review? Do you know that by doing that, you help others find this podcast? And honestly, your words are such an encouragement to me. I can't wait to read your review and then to share it on a future episode. Now, let's go reheat our lukewarm coffee, and then let's commit to being intentional to make meaningful impact in the lives of others. Until next time, lead on, sis.